to it. I guess every superhero need his theme music. No one man should have all that power. The clock's ticking, I just count the hours.
Hello and welcome to the Power Hour on DCU FM. We're a little bit early here today. We're coming in at about 5 to 8 instead of 8 o'clock. There was nobody in the studio before me, so I don't feel so bad. Today we have Alannah Kearney. You are a first year law student here in DCU. If I've done my reading right.
Yeah, that's it.
That's perfect. Okay. And she has organised, or she organised an info meeting for the strike for repeal movement here in DCU last Tuesday night. I think that's the right date.
Yeah, last Tuesday.
And strike for repeal, pretend I know absolutely nothing. Tell me all about it.
Sure. So, strike for repeal, the start of January they announced it. And basically, our demand is that the government call for a referendum by the 8th of March. And if they don't call for a referendum, then we're going to strike. Now, we are preparing for the strike completely, like 100%, although it would be amazing if the government said, we'll just call a referendum, but it's highly unlikely. I mean, as much as being hopeful for everything, it's going to be very hard to get this referendum going because of the various obstacles that surround it. And strike for repeal is basically just about getting everyone clued into the movement, because obviously a strike is a big deal.
Yeah, it's something that gets the people riled up, whether it was the Women's March or Black Rights or whatever it was. Throughout history, it's always been a strike gets things done. Yeah,
and it doesn't even have to be a strike off work or college. You can not do domestic duties for the day. You could wear black. You can wear a black wristband or something. So there's loads of different options. Obviously, all the stuff I'm organising on campus is a student walkout, but even if you didn't want to walk out of your lectures, you could always just wear black.
I have to admit, I really like how pro-choice and repeal the 8th Amendment campaigners campaign and how they strike and how they do their things. It's always it's like acts of civil disobedience. There's no cars on fire. There's no riots. It's great.
No, we're very peaceful. Like, I mean, if you talk to pro-choice protesters, I mean, even at the meeting on Tuesday, because I'm expecting a counter-protest on the day of the walkout.
Oh, I would hope so. Come on now.
Exactly.
Like, it would have to be.
No, exactly. And I said to them, like, here now, lads, be nice to them, because it's not worth it.
Because if you do, for any movement, if you do go out and you're not only, you're representing your point of view. Not only that, but you're representing the movement as well. So if you're the crowd that, like I said, not that you would be burning cars and throwing punches and starting riots, but it doesn't look good on behalf of anybody who's on the fence about the issue. Well, I think they're going to go with the people who weren't causing trouble as opposed to people who are.
Yeah, it's like you were saying, like, that's civil disobedience without throwing punches or lighting cars on fire. I mean, this TD Breed, she went into the Dáil. They were discussing. They're putting a bill forward to debate the issue in the Dáil. We were all standing outside the Dáil waiting.
Whenabouts was this? Do you know?
This was October. The bill actually didn't go through, so they never got to debate it.
Okay.
But as this act of kind of disobedience, I think it's Breed Smith is the TD's name, and she brought a packet of abortion pills into the Dáil itself and held them up and started talking about it. And I think even that, just like that small act of disobedience, bringing that illegal thing into the Dáil, her knowing that they can't really do anything about this, I'm in the government, like...
That's perfect. Can you actually just clarify for me what actually is an abortion pill?
Okay.
Because is it different to Plan B? Is it a whole thing altogether? Are they synonymous? What's the story?
Well, see, the thing is that it's kind of hard to find information about it.
It's really hard. I've tried. Don't worry. I'm not asking stupid questions. I looked.
It's very hard because I know we've got the 13th and 14th Amendment, which allows information about abortion pills and everything. But just on the internet, because abortion is such, like, it's almost a phenomenon. Like, no one wants to talk about it.
The thing is, whenever it's broached, anyway, there is no other topic that makes so much unease and tension in a room. And the thing about it is, for anybody, whether they have an opinion or they are tentatively one side or the other, or they think like myself, I have very little, if any, right to an opinion on this particular thing, I hear both sides. And I'm like, well, definitely that side's right. That that pro-choice. Obviously, it makes sense. They're right. But this side, they seem pretty right too. I'm not sure where to go with this.
No, it is hard. And like when you're trying to figure out, okay, like who do I want to support? It is a hard decision. Because when the pro-life side, or anti-choice rather, I should call them, throw around words like...
No, but pro-life sounds a lot nicer, so they go with that.
I was raised with using the word pro-life, and it's actually only when I got into the movement where it's like, oh, okay, so anti-choice, So it's a difficult one, because most people say pro or anti-life or anti-life, anti-choice.
So getting straight back to the actual movement itself, what are you campaigning and striking for? What is the exact goal that you would like at the end of the day?
Okay, so what we would like is a repeal of the Eighth Amendment, which would mean that there would
what is the, do you know the wording of the Eighth Amendment,
I do.
please?
I have it right here, actually.
We're going to get the book definition
here.
here.
Yeah, we're going to get the definition right here. So basically, I'll just say it because I almost know it off by heart now. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
State acknowledges the right to life of the unborn, and with due regard to the equal right to life of the mother, guarantees in its laws to respect, and as far as practicable, by its laws to defend and vindicate that right. Now, when you look at that article, you're like...
That's a lot of lawyer speak to me. You're going to have to run me through that.
It's like, okay, so when you look at that article... Because I remember when I looked at that article first, I was like, Jesus, that's okay.
That doesn't sound too bad. There's equal right and vindication.
Exactly.
It sounds pretty good.
The problem with this, it's badly worded, because it says the equal right to life. And this is where the opinions start forming, and where the decisions of the public come into play. Because essentially, if there's an equal right to life, then if a woman wants an abortion, but then there's a value to the life of the baby, then who gets a choice here? Do you know
that's interesting that you said equal right, because do you know the status? So that's the kind of the book definition, the constitutional definition,
yes.
In plain speaking English. So it's definitely illegal to have an abortion. What 100%. If it was a case where the mother's life was in danger?
Well, if the mother's life is in danger, this is the problem with the legislation. If there's a real and substantial...
So just a little bit closer to the mic,
sure.
that'd be perfect.
If there's a real and substantial risk to the life of the mother, which would include suicide or kind of a fatal illness the mother
Interesting
has.
that it includes suicide. That it includes a mental health aspect.
There was a referendum shortly after, I think it was around 92 or 93, to actually take that away.
To take it out of it?
Suicide away.
Good
yeah, because that's where the X case comes from, is with like the kind of the controversial, every Irish person seems to know, the X case, oh, don't talk about that. That's where suicide comes from, that part of it. So they're the two that's when you can get an abortion. This legislation doesn't go for if a woman has been raped, if the child is a result of domestic violence, if it's a result of incest. It doesn't go for anything like that.
Okay, it doesn't take those into account. So even if they're saying the pro-life movement would be saying even if the woman didn't make the choice to have the child, they still have to bring it to term.
Yeah,
okay.
Basically.
Okay, then talk me through it. Going to the UK. Okay. Is it legal to leave the state?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, perfect.
In 91, I think after that was when the X case happened.
Okay.
The story of the X case ties into how we got this right to travel. Where a young girl, she was only 14, she was raped by a friend of the family. And we didn't really have legislation about travelling before. She was raped. She decided to go get an abortion because she was 14, and this huge impact on her life. And
yeah, especially back then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the family said when I say this, I feel like people who are pro-life would kind of go like, that's disgraceful. They said to the guards, do they need tissue sample from the fetus to tell if it was the father, the father's child was that neighbour. So they said that, which is kind of a very ambiguous question. So
this is the pro-life, the people who wanted her to keep it were asking for a tissue sample.
No, they actually suggested it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they said just in case, because obviously they wanted to bring this guy to
justice. Okay, yeah.
And the Attorney General at the time found out about this and decided that this child had the constitutional right to life and got an injunction so she couldn't travel from the High Court. And that's where the X case kicked off. And during that case, there was, I think it was a 4-2 judgment, and the judges decided that the injunction should be lifted. Now, by the time that this injunction was lifted, the girl had actually miscarried. And after this case, because the Constitution, that article is very open to interpretation. And that was
was this the article? So in the X case, were they quoting this article of equal right, equal but unequal, but depends on? God, that's crazy. You said she miscarried as well.
She did miscarry.
That's a little suspicious, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there was active suicide attempts, I think, by her, because that was the real and substantial risk.
Even just that kind of stress that she was probably under at 14, being the post alleged, was it proven that she was raped?
Yeah.
Okay, post being raped, and it's heart of this controversy, couldn't have done any favors for the child anyway.
No, exactly, and she is a child herself.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
And after that, because obviously they couldn't really have this article that all the judges were just kind of interpreting it and doing their own thing with it. So they had the referendum, and that's where you get the right to travel and the right to information.
So that's the 13th, and 13th is travel, 14th is information, or vice versa.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the main question would be, how has this article gone so badly worded and so ambiguous for so long?
Well, the problem is that Irish people, I think mostly upwards of middle-aged, have this idea, because obviously people who are kind of in their like late 50s, they voted in this. They would have voted in.
There's kind of let's say Catholic scars of Ireland, and we'll get back to that in a minute. We'll get back to the religion part of it soon, but it's a bit it's almost like the Brexit vote. If you took it every single year, eventually they would vote to remain, because all of the, and sorry, this is just the facts of the matter, it's all the majority of the people over 60 and 70, something like 70% of those people voted to leave. Whether or not that's racism, or whether or not it's just I don't want to be saying that it is, but I think it's just the older generation, especially in England and in Ireland, there's a bit of they're a bit more conservative almost across the board. So and then again, as a kind of a parallel to that, the younger the generation, generally the more liberal, the more left leaning, the more go for it kind of that they are.
Yeah, exactly. That's like one of the reasons I think why I really wanted to get involved in the student outreach part of Strike for Repeal, is because I love just like, I think the college age where people are just kind of discovering.
You will never find a more liberal atmosphere than you will on a college campus. It is ridiculous. It's almost funny.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You picked a great spot to do a protest in favor of women's rights. This is the place to be for it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So you were saying that this was voted in 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Would it not be a crazy idea? And this is maybe a little bit tangential, but what if on all of the laws and all of the amendments to the Constitution, what if we had to vote on those again, regardless of their debate, every 30 years? Is that how long a generation is? Say 33, 34 years, whatever the average age of, say, a woman having a child is. Can we not work out something that we can get the popular vote back in?
Well, I guess that'd be a question for the government, Yeah. It's like I love how people like it. I can't wait for people of our generation to get into government.
Exactly. Look, and you know what? I think when they were trying to get into government, they were saying, "Oh my God, these people are running it so badly. I can't wait to get in."
Yeah, exactly like we are now.
Exactly, we are. Okay, I think that's where the idea comes from. It wouldn't be bad. What if just let's vote on everything? We'll see if we all think it's still immoral in 30 years.
Yeah, exactly.
So the protest is taking place on the 8th of March.
Yeah,
Full
International
steam ahead.
Women's Day.
You're going for it. Do you know what? You know how slow the Irish government is about doing anything. Chances are you're going to get your day in the sun.
Yeah.
Where can people find out more information about the strike?
Okay, so if you go onto Facebook and if you look up on Facebook DCU students strike for repeal, there's a group that's got about 120, 130 members at the moment. That's where you're going to get all your information.
For the DCU side of the march.
For the DCU side of the march. Also, Cody will be sending out some emails in the next couple of weeks, well, before the
Student Union Rep, Vice President for Welfare,
Cody,
Education,
for
something like
welfare.
that.
And he's going to be sending out some emails about what's going to be going on that day because I've kind of been organising this with students separate to lectures.
Okay,
so his
perfect.
timetable will
Yeah.
have students and lectures. But the main event for the students for that day would be the walkout at 12.
Okay, and that is locally here in DCU. And what
Yeah.
about, is it a global thing? I saw some little strikes on different parts of the map that were definitely well outside Ireland.
Yeah.
What is the actual movement? I heard something about wearing black or
Yeah.
withdrawing from a days of work. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so you can wear black, which, I mean, for some people like me, that's not difficult. It's just a little thing. You wear black, you can wear a black wristband. You can take the day off doing chores, so tell the housemates you're not doing the cooking or the cleaning today.
Okay.
And yeah, just basically this will show like a stand in solidarity with women, just these little things. I mean, if we look at, say, like the Repeal Project's jumpers, that was a small thing that yet grew so much solidarity between people,
Yeah.
you know. So, and then if you wanted to in DCU, you can come to the front of the Henry Grattan building and there will be a protest. There will be me on a megaphone shouting the
A
chants.
lot of shouting. What do
Yes.
we want? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
some of the chants were actually from 1983 when they stood outside the Dáil.
Oh, it's a nice little throwback.
Exactly, yeah, because I remember I was at the March for Choice and then I looked up some of the chants afterwards. I was like, oh my god, these were the chants from 83 when they stood outside the Dáil after it was put into the Constitution. And then I believe there's going to be a shuttle bus organised into town. There is a March for Repeal that's being run by the Coalition to Repeal the Eighth Amendment, which is lots of different organisations.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
going to be starting at the Garden of Remembrance and going all the way to the Dáil.
Perfect. Good God.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff.
My God, this is what a Students Against Fees protest all over again.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy stuff. To go back to a little bit again to the legislation about it.
Yeah, sure.
From what I've read, there was supposed to be a referendum. Was it earlier this year? Or was it sometime last year? There was supposedly a referendum that was stopped or halted or delayed by a citizens' assembly.
Yes. Yeah. So, yes, it was last year. Indeed, the citizens' assembly is a kind of a delay tactic.
What is, for those of us that don't know, what is a citizens' assembly?
Well, it is a bit ambiguous in itself.
Okay.
See, this is the first time. So they're being presented with a wide range of issues, and I do believe that repeal is the first one, and you could submit your own kind of contribution to it. I know I did. You know, why did you think this issue was important? Made up of 99 different people, and I will say that the distribution amongst counties is pretty bad.
What do you mean by that?
We've got some counties that aren't being represented at all.
Oh, okay. So the citizens' assembly is what you're saying is it's
just random people.
It's random people. So anybody in Ireland can give. So the reason it's delayed is because they wanted everybody in Ireland to weigh in their 2 cents.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not actually the Citizens' Assembly is kind of delaying it. It's delaying it, but is it almost for good reason? Why the strike then? If they're just trying to get a feel for how people are slanted towards it.
Well, I think the Citizens' Assembly isn't a good idea because you've got those counties not being represented. I think there's like 26, 27 people from Dublin alone, but also
that's a population thing. I mean, roughly that's about a quarter of the people who voted and a quarter of the population. True. That's closer in line.
We have got, there's been some weird choices in regard because they have pro-life and pro-choice speakers coming in to argue to kind of make their points to the assembly.
Yeah,
about
perfect.
it. But there's been some strange choices that could potentially be damaging, like youth defence. We're actually talking for the pro-life side, which is a little weird.
So what are youth defence when they're at home?
Well, see, this is the thing. Not sure, but I know they're bad.
Okay,
I know they're
perfect,
very
perfect.
bad.
The youth defence. That sounds like something that should be representing me and some very other, some very liberal people. I think youth defence.
I think it's the opposite, actually.
Interesting. Maybe it's the last bastion of conservatism left
Yeah.
in the young people.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and what about so what other types of people are representing the pro-life side? I kind of want to, because I from the vibe that I get around, maybe it's because I'm in this college campus echo chamber of the left, that who's actually fighting, what are the organizations fighting against against repealing the 8th Amendment?
So what do they find wrong with it?
Not even that, but who are these people? What organizations? What institutions? I would assume all the religiously leaning ones would be against it. But
mostly. I mean, back in '81 when there was first the pro-life amendment campaign, it was actually, I was looking it up. It was actually like 90% Catholic associations.
Interesting.
Wouldn't be that much now. It would be kind of. I mean, there's one group called pro-life libertarians. And
that doesn't sound very good to me.
Exactly.
So the libertarians are the ones who want more legislation. Is that right?
Well, it's not
Gotcha.
that they don't want more legislation, but they don't want any more legislation. You know? They want to keep it.
They want to keep it. They want to be sedentary. God, those people don't have much of a future, do they?
No, they don't at all.
We don't like change. Good God.
Stop, yeah.
And what are so you were saying this, interestingly, pro-life libertarians and the youth defenders. Never heard of either of these organizations in my life. I didn't think they'd have much of a pull. It seems like I was saying that there are so many people that are in favor of repealing the 8th, and the majority of people I've talked to, and even say older people that I would have met, would be I think it's kind of inevitable that it will change eventually.
It will. And we've got, like you're saying, the majority of people, we've got stats that say, it's an Irish Times poll, 55% want to change the legislation, and see, which is controversial. And then
because changing the legislation could mean a various number of things, from actually repealing it to putting some more stipulations on it. Gotcha. Yeah,
so that would be the people that want to change it to, so in the cases of rape, incest, that would be, or fatal fetal abnormalities.
Would it include things like suicide though?
Well, the original amendment does, or the protection of life during pregnancy. Actually, that's the act that kind of governs what exactly constitutes a substantial risk to life.
Okay, and those substantial risks to life, even if they're present with current legislation, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this weirdly worded. It's still illegal.
You can have a legally medically performed abortion
in this
Ireland
country
under the circumstances, and I do believe that it takes a long time to get past this, to the paperwork and trying to justify, this justification, say we have this mental health problem in Ireland, how do you justify that you're suicidal,
Okay, well, obviously there'd be some, teams of psychologists and a kind of a clinically based, kind of a minimum depression score or whatever you want to call it, that would do it.
Although we have, the Miss Y case, which
not familiar.
It's actually a really interesting case. I'll just say very quickly though.
Yeah, just the clip notes of it if you don't mind.
Just a woman
who
had come to, she's an asylum seeker in Ireland, had been domestically abused by her husband in her home country.
Okay.
Had been repeatedly raped, had fallen pregnant, came to Ireland, was on sorry, I can't remember.
Had fallen pregnant in Ireland or outside, or does that...
When she had been raped, and then when she moved here, discovered she was pregnant.
Does that change anything?
Well, when we look at, say, the case of Savita Halappanavar, she was Indian, and she had she was pregnant and they didn't give her an abortion here either.
Okay.
So it doesn't really. It's,
Okay, so it's
doesn't
really there are no abortions within these shores. Gotcha.
Yeah, but she was suicidal, and from my readings of it, it did take like a good while.
Yeah,
for them
there's
to prove.
there's no quick turnaround.
No, it was weeks and months.
Gotcha.
upwards.
So what exactly does the Repeal the 8th or Strike for Repeal, or there's more organizations than I know what to do with who are in
Yeah.
favor of this, and maybe that's why I think it's so disproportionately in favor of whatever you want to call it, pro-choice, anti-life, whatever you that side, the side that wants abortions. Let's call them that.
Yeah.
What exactly do you want? Everything, like, under what circumstances?
Well, for me, like I said, free, safe, legal abortions, part of healthcare.
For who?
For women. If we're going that step further, I like to, when I talk about repeal, I would say like trans men, people who are non-binary, not just
Okay,
cis
so
women.
whoever is pregnant. Okay, yeah.
Whoever wishes to get an abortion. Ideally, in England, it's a GP referral to the Mary Stopes Clinic, which is the abortion clinic, and that would be what I would want, because from doing my research and stuff, I've kind of discovered that people putting term limits on having an abortion is really not repealing at all. Do you know?
Really?
Well,
What if it's 8.5 months?
Well, that's like, that can't be performed. Do you know what I mean? The term limit is 24 weeks that you can get an abortion.
Okay, so it's technically an abortion within 24 weeks. Is that 6 months?
Yeah, that would be 6 months.
6
yeah.
months is still really far into it, though, isn't it?
It's far into it.
I mean, I know my
but-
biology's not brilliant, but
Yeah.
that's very, very almost a person at 24 weeks.
Well, it is. Okay, so when we look at the UK here, we've got 1.5% of abortions performed after 20 weeks, okay? 1% of those abortions are performed due to a fatal fetal abnormality.
Okay,
so the
okay.
child won't be born.
So it won't even make it. Okay, if the child's not even going to make it, I understand any, or not putting a term limit on it.
Yeah, and I would understand that too. Like 100%, that's what I would think. And in fact, when I was doing some research, when I initially started kind of thinking about whether I was pro-choice or pro-life,
Okay.
there's a correlation between a high number of late-term abortions and restricted abortion access. So the more restrictive abortion laws are, there's more late-term abortions, which is kind of mind-blowing.
The more restrictive.
Yeah.
So in this country, for example, there
Yeah.
would be a higher rate of late-term abortions.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think that it's a very interesting statistic to look at.
Again, correlation does not equal causality, but I mean that's a weird one. I couldn't really begin to describe, like, why is that the case? Is it people who they spend time looking for it, perhaps, or what?
Well, the cost currently of getting an abortion
In the UK, how much does it
going
cost?
to UK, over €1,000.
You're joking.
€1,000 travel over that to travel and
To travel,
travel, to
including
get the
my Aer
abortion.
Lingus tickets, as well as.
staying over, abortion.
Okay, what is the
flights.
actual act? How much would I have to write a check to this? What was the clinic you said? Or the-
Mary Stopes.
Mary Stopes. How much are they charging?
Now I'm not sure because that information was kind of hard to find for me
Interesting,
too.
yeah.
But I do know.
Okay, so let's say it's 200 to travel and another 100 to stay. It's still pretty it's prohibitively priced.
Yeah, I'm pretty
at about
sure.
600-700 quid.
When I was reading about the Miss Y case, they said to her about going to the Netherlands to get an abortion. I think I read it was €700.
Okay.
So,
So let's
say it would be
just
roughly
keep
around
its
that.
ballpark 700
Yeah.
quid, 550, 600 pounds. I'll go back to it again. So everybody can get an abortion under. Would you say that your belief of the 24 weeks is the popular kind of opinion among it, or would there be campaigners in the pro-choice? I'm still getting them straight in my head, folks. choice side of it that would have a different stipulation? Or is that the popular belief?
I wouldn't say it was the popular belief, because popular kind of makes it seem like a fad. But
Well, no, popular
like,
as in
like,
by the definition of the word.
yeah, okay.
A vast majority or
Yeah.
a large number of people think this.
Well, every person that I've met that is campaigning for pro-choice they wouldn't put these term limits on it.
No term limits.
No. Up to 20.
Are there, what would be the most common term limits then globally?
Okay, so I got my facts ready.
Okay, good.
I'm here. Okay, so these statistics are taken from the US.
Interesting one. We'll actually get to that later.
Yeah,
That's a good, yeah.
I've quite a bit to say about.
Happy days. We'll get back to Donald soon.
Yeah.
I told you guys I couldn't not talk about him. We'll get back to him.
Yeah, back to him soon. So we've got 92% of abortions in the US performed before 12 weeks, for 3 months.
Good. That's 12 weeks. Is that even barely a person? I'm okay. Great.
Yeah,
Great.
and then 80% before 10 weeks.
80% for yeah. So there's what, about 12% in between those.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
2 weeks. Great. Yeah.
And then so that's the 12 and 10 weeks. Like.
And then this is 8% past 3 months. I don't know. I'm actually just going to have a little check here. I'm actually going to look for some photos. This maybe it's a little bit graphic, but I kind of want to see what I'm dealing with at 3 months, 3 or 6 months, whatever it is.
Okay, so it kind of depends. What do you call viability?
I want to say that if it was born prematurely, will it survive? Can a 6-month-old or can a 5.5-month-old child, if born prematurely, survive?
So I also have some facts about that too. So the chance of survival outside the womb increases dramatically between 24 and 28 weeks. So that's 40%.
Okay, so
From about 40% at the beginning of the 24th week to more than 80% 4 weeks later. So I think it's kind of up to the person to be the judge, because we don't have a scientific definition. Like, what is viability?
I would argue, and maybe this is my own thing, I would like a 60-70% chance of survival.
Okay.
At whatever point that is, and if it's any less than that, I think that's probably grounds to do it.
Okay.
So I think 6. You said it increased. Maybe 6 months is the right time to do it. I don't know. Maybe it just sounds a little late in my head, or 6 months sounds a little late in my head. But maybe that is the right time to do it. We're going to be right back. We're going to take a short break. I'd like to talk a little bit about the ifs and or buts about the kind of the carte blanche abortions before 24 weeks. So if it goes past 24 weeks, is the pro-choice side in favor? I'll get there. Are they in favor of these? Is it even called an abortion past 24 weeks?
No, you actually can't get an abortion anywhere past 24 weeks. You can't.
That's the cutoff.
That is the cutoff completely. Like,
okay.
Yeah. So it's not even like the 24 weeks isn't even like a pro-choice thing. It's actually like literally 24 weeks is the cutoff.
So what you're saying is at 24 weeks we are calling it a person. Yeah. Whatever may be going on there, person. Fair enough. You mentioned the US.
Yeah.
And I would like to touch on that. I just want to see, is there anything we're missing on the Ireland side of it? We went through the current legislation's all wordy and awful.
Oh.
The strive is for this is an interesting one. Should you have to pay for an abortion?
I don't think you should have to pay for an abortion, because I think it's part of your health care, because it's your choice.
Should health insurance companies cover you to get an abortion?
Yes, they should.
They should.
It is your body,
And let's put it this way: in other countries, do insurance companies cover that?
I'm not entirely sure with that.
Interesting.
Yes.
That'd be interesting to see as well, because if it does cost however much in the UK, you're kind of, would you put it in the same kind of realm almost as, I know obviously it's a lot more meaningful and a lot more impactful than all the other I wouldn't even say elective surgeries, things like that. Is that the kind of, you were saying it was part of your healthcare?
Yeah.
So this, you would almost argue, I don't want to put words in your mouth or anything, but would this kind of fall into that category of elective surgeries that, again, should be covered by healthcare if that's something you've chosen?
Well, what I think, like, is it's your body. It's a medical procedure.
Okay, yeah, it's something that very seriously affects your health. Okay.
Yeah, very seriously affects your health. So that's why I would think that health insurance.
Be interesting to see. I'd like to actually. I might check that a little bit later to see if insurance companies are actually covering it. Back to or I want to go to America for a while because all of the weird things that happen in the world, they all happen there.
Yep. Which America's actually where pretty much the origins of where the Eighth Amendment actually.
What is that? What I know, what's the story with it? I know there's a whole Planned Parenthood organization that it's, what is it, kind of like cheap subsidized medical care. Is it, I'm just going to ask straight up, is it legal to have an abortion in America?
Yes, it is.
Up to what extent? Is it 3 months? Is it 6 months?
It's 24 weeks.
24 weeks, 6 months. Great. And we don't know if that's covered by insurance. Fair enough. And what are the current moves? Again, I heard rumors of Trump has pulled funding, is it, from Planned Parenthoods to provide this service. So while he's not, it's not exactly on the same line as an executive order to change their constitution. Yeah. He's making it very hard for Planned Parenthoods to stay in business, to provide the service.
And actually, not only does this affect Planned Parenthood, it actually affects lots of NGOs around the world. Because there's a policy, it's called the Mexico City gag policy. Okay. And it was pretty sure that it was put into force by Reagan. And then...
When was Reagan? Reagan was the 80s, about 85, something like that, yeah?
Then who was, I can't remember exactly who it was that then took this out of law effectively. But
any chance that was a Bush? Is there any chance?
Bush put it back in.
Bush put it back in. Okay, there's a surprise. I should give him more credit.
Well, these are actually, the Mexico City gag policy is a bad thing actually. And then Obama took it away again.
Wait. So Reagan introduced it.
Yeah, Reagan introduced it.
Okay, and Bush took it.
He put it back in, and I can't remember the exact president that took it out.
Okay.
Basically, what it means is if NGOs that are supported by America...
These would be what? Non-governmental organizations. Gotcha.
If they provide information about abortion or abortion services, then America pulls their funding.
Gag order. Interesting. So... Obama revoked it.
He
revoked it, and Trump has yet to. He actually
has put it.
He's put it back into place.
Yeah, within his first week.
That's news to me. So he's reintroduced. So this is all NGOs, whether it's Doctors Without Borders or their equivalent.
Yeah, anything that America, like the NGOs America provide funds towards, which is.
So that falls under Planned Parenthood, yes.
I'm not sure if it falls under Planned Parenthood. I think that might be a different order because it's within America itself.
It's domestic. Yeah. Okay.
But it's actually this isn't, the Mexico City gag policy isn't just catastrophic for these services providing abortion, like pulling funding from a place, say if the NGO is in a place where the HIV count is extremely high.
South Africa, that area.
Exactly. Oops. Okay. They could lose their funding and potentially not be able to test for HIV, which is like extremely important,
So it's got this kind of knock-on effect. Yeah, that's a lot bigger than what they thought, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
Good God. So I know there was an amount of funding pulled, and it was pulled from some sort of global fund almost. Maybe it's for these kind of non-governmental organizations, these kind of subsidized institutions like Planned Parenthood. And I know it's one of the Nordic countries. Don't quote me on this. It's one of the Nordic, one of the Scandinavian countries has actually vowed to increase their donation to match what has been lost. And I think it's interesting to see everybody's reaction and to see people being banded together by what's happened.
It is amazing. You know, I kind of was in awe at the Women's March even, like.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you think that helps the case for the strike for Repeal the 8th movement?
Well, I do think a lot of it depends on our government's support of Trump, because I don't know if you remember after he was voted into office and Enda Kenny had this thing of saying like congratulations.
Oh, there was a congratulations. Yeah.
Exactly. And then he started talking about Mike Pence, or like, you know, Pence spent his summers in Ireland, you know, and stuff. And it's kind of like, you know, stop it, Enda. And like, I think it really...
I'm actually gonna have to get Enda in here one of the days to defend his point of view. Look, he'll have plenty of free time soon. Don't worry.
Yes, exactly. But I think it does depend on our government.
I don't mean that, Enda. I love you. Don't worry.
I love you, Enda.
I just feel like it's probably not a great idea to badmouth Taoiseach just on air. So I'm gonna hedge my bets on that one. So I suppose it can't. It's. I think awareness is always a good thing, and because, as we were saying, that there's very few issues that are like abortion anywhere in the world.
No.
Because I still maintain, and maybe we'll see when we finish off this conversation with you, I still maintain that seemingly everybody on both sides is right the wrong word. They both make some very, very valid points. That nothing brings up so much tension. So maybe it's good in a way, kind of one of the unforeseen benefits of Trump pulling out his funding from this and actually making noise about the Mexico City gag order, was it?
Yeah.
That at least the issues get a bit more airtime, and maybe we can just desensitize everyone to it, and we can get talking about it, I suppose.
Exactly. That's a good point. Like, that solidarity, that talking about it, because obviously, like, one of Trump's huge problems is his misogyny.
Let's not get politics about it now.
We'll not get hugely, you know.
Let's not get hugely political as we talk about abortions for the past hour. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
No, but like that misogyny, I think, and that everyone's saying, "Jeez, like, God, he's awful," you know, and everyone's saying, "Oh,
the backlash."
Like, you think that
well, he's the most famous person in the world.
Yeah, undoubtedly.
Like I put it up to 3. I think there's 3 people fighting for the crown at the moment, and it's the Pope, it's Kim Kardashian, and it's Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Because they've done a really good job, all 3 of them, of making sure everybody knows who they are.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with you on that.
I would never have thought that those 3 people had anything in common.
No, the Pope, Kim Kardashian, Donald Trump.
Okay. That's perfect. So, in Europe, what is the situation like as opposed to legality on the issue?
Well, abortions are legal, with their different reservations, you know, up in different countries. I'm not sure of like exactly all of the legislation, you know, in regards to other countries.
Okay,
I do know that Malta and Ireland are the only 2 European countries with such restrictive abortion laws.
Interesting. I just want to know if there's I was just wondering if there was anything say in any of the other countries, even the ones that would be slightly more kind of conservatively leaning, that maybe had a no, you can't have an abortion, but what if? Well, I just wasn't sure, you know.
Poland tried to tighten up the abortion laws.
I read a little. They tried to tighten it up.
Yeah, they tried to.
What's the current state of it in Poland?
I think it's free, safe, legal abortion.
Free, safe, legal. Okay.
Poland, they did try to. Their issues with it, or what they wanted to put forward, is very similar to Ireland, where it's like restrictive, you know, cases.
So like pretty much carte blanche, you can't have it.
Not like you can't have it, but you know.
That's what Ireland is at the minute.
It's pretty much, but I'm saying like as in the substantial risk to the life of the mother. That's what they're trying to reduce it to.
I am going to play a little bit of devil's advocate.
No.
Now, just because I can, and while I have you here.
I'm ready.
What if, and this is one that always confused me, is if you decide and two people get together and they both decide, I want to have a child.
Okay.
And then one or both of them just changes their mind.
Okay.
That's hard for me to justify.
Yeah.
I find that very hard to swallow, that you could really just change your mind on something that big of a level. I think if you have made such a conscious decision, how would you defend that is basically how I'm asking.
Well, first off, I just want to say that I love scenarios people throw at me.
Perfect.
First off, as in,
Great,
like,
you're going to have loads of them in a second. Keep going.
I love when people give me these. They're like, what if, this happens? It's like, oh, I've never heard someone say that scenario to me before. But to that, I'd say, ultimately, it's up to the woman. Like, I know it's kind of hard to hear, as in, like, I know there's two people involved in this.
Hey, it takes two people.
It does take two people, but the woman is the person who carries the child for 9 months. And, the woman carries the child, possibly breastfeeds. Probably.
I would argue that I think alongside, how about, can we have like a little addendum to the Women's March at the very end? It's like, can we also have paternity leave be like 3 months long as well? Can we just throw that in there?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about abortion, and I suppose when you talk about men and this,
because like you were saying that it will eventually be, or it's likely that it will be the woman who is taking care of the child.
Well, not so much taking care of the child, but just like, as in the woman, like her actually bodily function, like as in carrying the baby, getting sick with the baby,
the logistics of the matter are all the woman based. But okay, I'm gonna keep going with this one. What if, again, two loving people, whatever, they get together, decide to have a child, fully consensual, ticks all the boxes, and then what if the woman just decides that she does not want to have a child? And does the man have any say over this whatsoever, or should he?
Honestly,
what if here's another hypothetical. I'm just gonna throw in another one. What if the woman agrees to have the child, but then signs off all rights to it to the man straight away if she doesn't want it?
Well, I'm going to go back to my point in that it is the woman's choice.
In your opinion, it's the woman's choice. But I think there is a very strong argument from the side that if it takes two to make one, then I think it's I won't say selfish. I would say it doesn't make a lot of sense for it then to be only one party's choice.
Well, then we kind of have to ask ourselves the question, can we trust women?
I'm confused.
So you say that, what if the woman decides she doesn't want the child anymore and she can go get an abortion?
This is just hypothetical.
Yeah, hypothetically, of course. Like, can we trust a woman to not be, to go behind the person's back or something, kind of like what you're saying, and have an abortion? Like, can we trust a woman to make her own choice, informed?
I suppose, I suppose it'd be impossible to enforce.
Yeah, and I think that first thing I said was I love when these scenarios get thrown at me because they're always different, and I'm always thinking to myself,
what if? These are the ones, and maybe they're fringe examples, but I mean, if I'm thinking of them, then there's got to be at least a possibility of them happening.
Yeah, well, we do have the group Fathers for Justice that have just been set up.
Ooh, okay. Maybe I have to join those ones.
Yes,
wait a minute. What side of the fence are they on?
Pro-life. They believe that the father...
Oh, okay, that's anti-choice. Got you.
The father should have like a huge input.
I think I prefer anti-choice and pro-choice because things get messy otherwise.
Well, pro-choice, pro-life, yeah.
I suppose nobody wants anti in their name, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I think it makes, because if you have two pros, then how do you distinguish?
What if I am a diehard Catholic? I mean, letter of the law.
Yes.
No sex before marriage, no nothing. I am a diehard 100% Catholic, which I'm fully entitled to in this country.
Yes.
I have incredible religious freedom. I also, because I don't know what amendment it is, but I have not only do I have religious freedom, I have freedom of anybody even questioning what I believe in.
You sound You sound like the man, the man who stands on O'Connell Street who shouts about religion.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to embody him for just a moment. I'm a
Yeah.
diehard Catholic, and
Which I've had an argument with, by the way.
okay, do you know what? Maybe I'll bring you on another week for a religious topic, but I mean, I don't think we could do two in the one. And I believe that that according to my beliefs, which are constitutionally defended,
Yes.
as far as I know,
Vindicated.
vindicated. And I say that abortions are against my beliefs and my religion and the ethos of Ireland. What would you say against that? How would you tackle somebody coming at you with a religious side?
Okay, so what I usually would say if someone comes at me with that kind of like very Catholic view, just because you don't agree with abortion and you think it's wrong doesn't mean you should limit other people from making their choice to have an abortion. Which is, I have a very firm stance on that.
Yeah.
And that's why I am firmly pro-choice. Is like, I think like when people kind of ask the questions, like these kind of hypothetical scenarios, I think it really just boils down to
They're not even that hypothetical. These arguments, I guarantee you, have happened before.
I think a very small number of people. But I won't,
You won't
doubt
dismiss it. So
yeah.
your argument would be that do your religion in your own time.
Exactly.
Interesting
you can
enough,
practice religion in your
because
own time,
I think first of all, I think the right in this country, I believe in religious freedom, I believe whatever you want.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that there has to be a law in this country, I'm not sure which one it is. I guarantee you it exists though. It's you are not allowed to, is it demean or publicly denounce another faith, which is ridiculous to me because it basically means in this country there isn't true free speech. We don't have it.
Mm-hmm. Well, there is free speech, and then there is,
Well, no. There's no free speech. If I cannot denounce your religion, then you have limited my freedom of expression, and it's no longer free.
You could say that.
I
think it would be a very different topic.
Very different topic altogether. But look,
extremely.
what do we do if we not get on tangents on this show? Whew. I've got one more for you.
Oh, okay. Hit me with it.
So
I can see it in your face.
I'm trying to find the best way to word this, and I'm doing my very best this entire show to word things in a nice, non-biased, impartial way.
Okay,
And
cool.
I want to keep that going because I think it's important. Because like I said, I really don't lean one way or the other. I have no idea. In the event of the changing your mind, you are in favor of you're well, not that you're in favor of the abortion. I don't want to say that anyone's ever in favor of a specific event, but you would be as a whole okay if the change of mind took place, and as it is an issue of health that negatively or it impacts the woman's health in some way. What if it was agreed to an extent, and I think I've been over this before. What if it was agreed to an extent that the man was to take full custody of the child afterwards?
Okay.
And I know the again, under what you're saying, is that the woman does have the full say in this instance.
Yes. Yeah.
But what if we had a stipulation where that was the case and it was somehow enforceable, so that the two people get together, they have a consensual baby, ticks all the boxes, great, happy, healthy baby, no risk to the mother whatsoever. She changes her mind.
Okay.
And the husband then agrees in some form of a formal way that he will take full custody of the child once it is born. Transfer maternity leave to him for all I care.
Yep.
He is solely responsible for this child from now on. Would you be in favor? Again, for the sake of I suppose it could be in favour of the man's health as well as the child that is yet to be born.
Yeah.
Would you be in favour of a system like that if it was introduced?
So if a woman wishes to have an abortion,
A woman
like,
wishes to have an abortion. But it is agreed upon that absolutely everything about the pregnancy is safe and her life will not be negatively impacted aside from, say, the term of pregnancy.
Okay.
And that as soon as the child is born, she legally has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Well,
And it was somehow enforceable from a moral let's take this from a moral standpoint.
I'm gonna say that honestly, I think that this situation is not even a question of abortion. It's a question of not like, obviously, if the woman, like, does the woman in the situation want to carry the child to full term? Because it really depends, like, if she wants.
Interesting. Well, I suppose if she wants to, then they would just do it through the regular loop. I suppose when you put it like that, and when you're basically forcing a woman to go through another 6 months or whatever it is of pregnancy for a child,
Sounds a lot different.
I don't know if I'm convinced yet.
Well, I mean, I know you said you're neither. You're kind of in the middle.
I'm definitely in the middle. I think I'm in the middle, and I don't think I have any right to be right or left on it. To go pro-choice or pro-life on it, I don't think, because the situation will never come up for me.
Yeah.
Ever in an event where I will have to have an abortion or not. It's just not something that's happening. So I find it very hard to I like to put myself in the other person's shoes, no matter how, say on any other topic that I'm strongly one way on, I'll always like to just see how I would feel if I was in the other shoes.
Yeah.
And that's generally how I form the majority of my opinions, but it's so difficult.
Yeah.
There's a question for you. How would, if you're a man,
Okay.
not you specifically, but if a listener is a man,
Yes.
and they want to try and rationalize it to themselves. They want to inform themselves. We only have about 5 minutes left. We'll finish on this. Where is the best place for somebody who is a man and can't put themselves in that position? Where is the best place that they can go to inform themselves on the issue?
Well, for me anyway, and where like I formed my my kind of opinion on all this, the abortion rights campaign have invaluable information on it. Wonderful amount of information. They have a page. It's kind of abortion myths busted, 8 facts about abortion in Ireland, that kind of thing.
Perfect.
So if you're looking for information, that's
straightforward
that's
from a pure information, purely objective. Now I hope. It's called Abortion Myths Debunked.org or whatever. That doesn't sound too bipartisan to me.
Well, no, it's abortion rights campaign. I'm not sure if the website is shortened to ARC or not.
But we'll find it if we Google it, won't we?
Yes, you will find it if you Google it. But so they have on the website. I mean, I was only looking at it last night actually. And so they'll have what the myth is and what's the truth of it.
Okay.
And it's not so much subjective, it's objective because they have lots of like statistics and like you make your mind up about it.
Perfect. Objective truths not really up for interpretation, but just the facts of the matter. That's absolutely perfect.
Yeah. I actually wanted to read out a poem if that's okay.
If you know what, fire ahead with your poem and then we'll wrap up the show. How does that sound?
It's not my poem myself, but it's a lot of people might know it. It's from a video called We Face This Land, which is a video that went viral about October, directed by Dave Tynan, and it's this poem. And
absolutely perfect. Read away.
Yeah. So the poem is by Sarah Maria Griffin, and yeah, I'll let you listen and interpret it. This agony of water in order to hold agency over our bodies. Not all of us have survived. The waves do not part. There are no miracles here. When the stethoscope is a crucifix on your belly, how do you have any choice but the water and fair medical treatment on another? A body is a body, 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 is a body. Not a house, not a city, not a vessel, not a country. The laws of the church have no place on your flesh. A veterinarian will abort a calf if a cow is falling ill. How is it that livestock is worth more to this land than us? 11 women every day leave Ireland seeking an abortion abroad. We ask for the land over the water, home over trial, choice over none. For our foremothers, ourselves, the generations yet to come, witches are women, these are our bodies which shall not be given up.
That's absolutely beautiful. Thank you very much, Alannah, for coming in.
Oh, no problem.
Where can people find more information about the Strike for Repeal march that is taking place globally, seemingly? Would there check just Google, see if there's one in your local area, but definitely in DCU. Can you tell us how do we get there once again?
Well, certainly look up DCU Students Strike for Repeal, open group. Just click join group, you'll be in there. That'll have
and all the info's in there as well, yeah?
Yeah, and I'm going to have various event pages now up that I'm just going to share. You'll probably be able to find them through FemSoc, because FemSoc will share all the events.
Okay, perfect, yeah.
And I'll have an itinerary shortly up for all the events taking place over the day, and then Cody will have an email out next week for it.
Okay, that's absolutely perfect, Alannah. Thank you very much for joining me.
No problem.
That is it for the Power Hour this week. We will be back next Friday at 8 p.m. We will have 4 amateur MMA fighters, all with, I think, at least 8 amateur fights to their name. They're going to tell me what it's like to be an aspiring mixed martial artist in this country and what the road is to becoming a professional. Join me next week. Thank you very much for listening.
The system broken, the schools closed, the prisons open. We ain't got nothing to lose. Everybody, we rolling. Everybody, we rolling. With some light-skinned girls and some Kelly Rowland.